Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Rachel. If you are new here, welcome. And if you're not new here, thank you so much for coming back. So today I have a really fun video planned. I am going to be doing 3 different looks with 3 different indie palettes that I have recently added to my collection. So the first look you are going to see will be with the Game Beauty Elemental Blast palette in the colorway Geo. They did come out with 5 monochromatic palettes. This is my first time using anything from the brand, so you're gonna have to see my thoughts and the look I came up with this palette. An absolutely beautiful neutral palette. I did purchase this one myself. The second palette is the Wicked Widow Beauty Graveyard Smash palette, another little palette with a spooky theme. Love a spooky theme. And then here is what the inside looks like. A little bit more of a grungy, fun Halloween release. I did receive this one in PR. And then finally, the look that you are seeing right now, I created with the Bella Beauty Bar Recently Deinfluenced palette. Absolutely gorgeous. Oh, gorgeous palette. So you will have to see my thoughts on these palettes. This is not a review on any of these palettes. It's just me playing, making some looks, trying to give you some inspo, whether you pick up these palettes or you shop your stash. I want to give you some inspo, and I just love to play with eyeshadows. You know that if you've been here before, they are my obsession, especially indie eyeshadows. So that's what today is all about. I'm gonna link all 3 of these palettes down below in the description box, as well as everything else that I'm wearing on my face in all 3 looks. I always put timestamps down below in the description box if you wanna skip around to a certain palette, or if you wanna stick around for all 3, that's cool too. And if you enjoy this while you're watching it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like indie eyeshadows, you should consider subscribing. Okay, so we are going to create a look with the Game Beauty Geo palette from their new Elemental Blast collection. I've never tried Game Beauty before, and when I saw them release this collection, I was actually really excited and it really intrigued me. So Game Beauty is a gaming-inspired indie brand, and they just released a whole bunch of monochromatic 9-pan palettes, and I, of course, bought the most neutral one. And I had seen a lot of creators here on YouTube getting the collection and using them, and I actually asked my friend Angelica Nyqvist what she thought about them and which ones she would recommend to me. And she recommended this one just because I like neutrals, and she said that the quality of all of the palettes were really good. So I definitely went out and picked this up on her recommendation, but I was definitely very intrigued by this collection. They came out with 5 monochromatic 9-pan palettes that are inspired by their highlighters that they've previously released. So I also picked up the Geo highlighter, and this is like a white, yellow, gold. It looks so pretty. And this is the only palette that I picked up. This was the one that called to me. The palette does retail for $25. All of the palettes have varying prices based on like if there's any special shades in the palettes, which I think is nice. In this palette, there is a multi-chrome called Magna up here, and there are some pressed pigments. So pressed pigments aren't FDA approved for the eye area, so use at your own discretion, do your own research. I don't personally have a problem using pressed pigments on my eyes. I don't get reactions or anything like that. This palette is vegan and cruelty-free, and I'm very excited to create a kind of simple look today. I am going out for lunch on a lunch date, so I kind of want it just to be like simple daytime, but this color story is so yummy to me, so I'm very excited. And of course, I will try on the highlighter. I did also purchase their brush set, the E1 through E5, and something happened with my order where they kind of messed up my order, and they actually ended up just sending me one brush, which is not even in the set, the E08. So I'm gonna use this today, but they were really helpful with their customer service. I was able to contact them. They got back to me in a timely fashion, and they are sending me the brush set that I paid for. So I'm happy with that, but I will incorporate this brush as well. You'll have to let me know if you picked anything up from this collection, if you've tried Game Beauty in the past. What's your experience? I would love to know. Something interesting if we look close is these 2 shades look kind of similar. This one up here, Petrify, is a little bit darker, and it is a satin, which I think is a really cool touch. This is a matte, which I also love having a very light matte. But for my first shade, I'm gonna go in with the shade Fisher, which is a macaroni and cheese orange yellow. I love that. And I'm gonna place this in my crease. Wow, that's pigmented. All right, next I'm gonna go in with Bulwark. I don't know what these shades mean. I'm not a gamer at all. But it is this like warm brown with a little bit of a red undertone. And I'm just gonna place this a little bit lower in the crease as well as in my outer corner. Okay, I'm gonna go all over my lid with the NYX Glitter Primer. I'm gonna go in with this really pretty gold shimmer called Starfell right here. I may deepen up the outer corner with one of these two shades once I get the shimmer on, but I wanna see what the shimmer looks like first. Super smooth, like not chunky, not textured, very smooth. Super pretty. I love me a smooth shimmer. I love me a smooth shimmer on my aging eyes. I'm getting there. My birthday is very soon. I'll be 37, so I'm approaching 40. But all that to say, I love a smooth shimmer. This is a really pretty, just warm, neutral look, which, you know, if you've been here before, I do really enjoy this. I don't think I'm gonna deepen it up. I think I am gonna go back in with that shade Bulwark, just with a smaller brush, just to reinforce the color a little bit.
A few moments later.
You know what? I accidentally dipped my brush into this shade, so we're gonna go for it. Tectonic Tide, this deeper brown. So I'll just put this right at the base of my outer corner, right towards my lash line. Yeah, actually that was a good decision after all. Okay, before we get to the lower lash line, let's play with the Geo highlighter. So this is one of 5, I believe. Yes, one of 5 highlighters that they have available, and this one is yellow leaning. I don't think this is a multi-chrome highlighter as far as I know, but it does say luminous highlight with a golden sheen. So let's put this on the face. I'm very excited. So I have a Wet n Wild highlighter brush. Very pretty. Now this brush is quite fluffy, so I am really getting more just like glitter particles, and it definitely is glittery. Like it's not like an ultra smooth, wet looking highlighter, but it is very pretty. And if you are looking for a more glittery, sparkly highlighter, but you don't want it to be like overly colorful, I think this is a really good one because it is more of that like more standard yellow golden highlighter, but it has that little bit of sparkle to it. So it's really pretty. All right, let's finish up the lower lash line together. I'm basically going to repeat the same shades I used. I'm gonna start with Tectonic Tide, that darkest brown, and I'm just going to push this up against my lower lash line. And next I'm gonna go in with the shade Bulwark, that warm brownish red, and just blend that out. And then finally, I'm gonna go in with Fisher, that really pretty yellow, and just blend that out. I'm gonna use the Game Beauty E08 brush. This brush feels very nice. Like it feels not super like light and cheap in the hand. There's a little bit of weight to it, and it has, like, remember back in the day, some pens and pencils had little places for your fingers, like little indentations. This has that, which I think is very interesting and different. I want to try the shade Petrify, which is that satin shade for my inner corner. And this is just like a kind of larger domed pencil brush, which is perfect for the inner corner. Oh yeah, that's super bright, brighter than I thought it was going to be, which is perfect. Wow. So here is the finished look with the Game Beauty Geo palette. What do you think? I mean, my neutral loving self loves this. What else can I say? It is just a really pretty warm tone neutral look, simple, everyday, and for me, like the most comfortable I feel is in warm tone neutrals. So I'm all about it. So let me give you my initial thoughts on this. This is not by any means a review. I have to continue using this, and especially because I've never used the brand before, I can't compare it to past palettes. But I will say I love how tiny and slim and light this is. It would be great to travel with. And then, of course, the color story, like I've already said, is great. And I like that there is more warm tones, but there are more like actual true neutrals as well. So you can get different looks out of this, which I think is important in a monochromatic palette that is small. Like I want to be able to get maybe 2, 3 different looks based on undertones is kind of what I mean. I love this satin shade up here, which is very good for the inner corner. It gives a little shine without being like sparkly for an inner corner highlight, which I love. I really enjoy that there's a multi-chrome. I am gonna have to play around with that. All of these shades, I will just tell you, like based on touching them and using the ones I used on my eyes, the mattes are very like silky almost. They're not powdery. They don't have a lot of kick up in the pan. They didn't give me fallout. So they are more on that buildable side. They're not like overly pigmented off the bat, because I feel like with a lot of indie brands, you're either getting like very powdery pigmented bam in your face mattes, or you're getting these more like silky, I wouldn't say like wash of color, but they're not overly pigmented. I kind of can compare these to Gourmand Girl mattes. That's what I feel like I can compare them to if you've used Gourmand Girl before. And then these shimmers are very smooth. They're not chunky, they're not textured, which I prefer a smooth shimmer. Like I do like a textured shimmer once in a while, but I really love smooth shimmers. So I'm excited to keep playing with this palette. Very excited. I love the look I created, and so far so good. And then this highlighter is really pretty, a little more on the sparkly side. It's not overly colorful, so if you aren't a colorful highlighter person but you want that extra shine, this is good. I did spray my face with a setting spray before applying this, and I still got a little bit of like the glitter poof that ended up in this area on my face, which was fine. I was able to brush it off. But next time I think what I'll do is I'll either like spray my highlighter brush or more like spray this area and use a smaller brush, because the brush I used was quite fluffy, so the glitter particles kind of sprayed in my face, but that could just be user error. I have to continue playing with it and figuring it out, but I do love how all of this came together. Everything else that's on my face, of course, will be listed down in the description box, and I want to hear your thoughts as well on this collection, and now I'm going to send you off to the next look. I can't even begin to tell you how angry I was that I already filmed a look with this palette to be put in this video, and I forgot to film the last clip showing the final look. And usually I take like a selfie video on Instagram, didn't do that. So I had no footage of my final look. So love that for me. So I'm going to film another look with the palette. But I mean, it's kind of a good thing for you because I will have now used this twice, and I'm going to try to get all the shades I haven't used yet so that I've used every shade and I can give you a little more of my thoughts versus just a first impression. So, I mean, I guess that's good, but I was pretty angry because I really liked the look. But anyway, I'm gonna film another look with the Wicked Widow Beauty Graveyard Smash palette. Let me give you a little information about the palette. So this is a really cute little 8-pan palette. It's very small. I love these little compact palettes. If you have in the past purchased the Wicked Widow Beauty Tea Time palette, it is the exact same size. It is the exact same packaging for that matter. And I do really love the cover on this. It's a spooky theme, which is always in my heart. The palette retails for $36. It is vegan and cruelty free. It includes 4 mattes, 2 duochromes / multichromes, and 2 shimmers. The palette is magnetic. I did receive this in PR from the brand, and I do have a non-affiliated code. It's Rachel Palmieri 10. I always put my affiliate or non-affiliate codes, I should just say discount codes, down in the description box. It's always all the way at the bottom of the description box. So thank you, Wicked Widow Beauty, for sending this my way. I'm excited to create a look with this. I definitely was attracted to this color story. This is probably my favorite color story that I've seen them do lately of the palettes that I've tried from them. It is a little bit more grungy, which is just a little more up my alley. So I'm very excited to try this again. I have already primed my eyes with the Urban Decay Primer Potion, and I'm going to go in with the shade Freaky Frank down here, this like more mint leaning green, and I'm pretty much going to put it through my crease. This is nice that it has a little mirror. It would be great for traveling. All right, so that shade is really nice. It's not like super pastel, super white based. So it does have a little bit of a punch and a little bit of grunginess, and it does remind me of Frankenstein, right? Like this is Frankenstein's skin color. Yes. I'm next gonna go in with the shade Bewitching Bride, which is like the deeper purple, and I'm just gonna deepen it up a little bit. I did use this shade in my last look, but this is kind of the only actual deepening up shade in the palette, so I'm gonna use it again. Okay, so I didn't have the easiest time in the world blending that purple today, but like I said, I did use it last time I made a look, and I didn't really have a problem. So I think it's just my eyelids are very dry today. 2 days ago, I had a glass of wine and a White Claw, and I'm still dried out. Like, that's my life. So yeah, I just think it's my eyelids are dry. So we're gonna give it a pass right now. All right, I'm gonna put the NYX Glitter Primer all over my lid, and then I'm gonna go in with the shade Thrills and Chills, which looks like a really pretty green to blue duochrome. That shimmer is so pretty. Wicked Widow Beauty shimmers are really something. Like, they are just so special and beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna go put some more makeup on my face. I'll be right back so we can continue on with the lower lash line. Okay, so everything else that is on my face, of course, will be listed down below in the description box. But let's continue on with the lower lash line. I wanna go in with Bewitching Bride, which is that deep purple, on a flat definer brush, and I'm just gonna push this up against my lower lash line. There's so much cat hair in all of my makeup brushes. I'm gonna go in with a pencil brush and that first matte shade, Freaky Frank. I love the name. And I'm just gonna blend that out. I'm gonna go in with ColourPop's Cream Gel Liner in Charmer in the waterline, my go-to. And then for the inner corner, I love that this shade Weird Waltz is in here. It's just like a perfect inner corner shade that I can do with any look that I create. For my skin tone, it's perfect. So I'm just gonna go in with that, and I am gonna spray it. All right, I'm gonna go off camera, finish up the rest of my makeup, and then I will come back to show you the final look and to give you my first and second impression thoughts. Okay, this look is giving me Bride of Frankenstein. Am I right with like the green and the purple? I love it, and this lip. But let me give you my thoughts on this palette. The quality of this is the same good Wicked Widow beauty quality that I've come to learn and expect. The mattes are, I would say, a little bit more on that middle ground, like not overly pigmented, but not sheer. Not just a wash of color. They are that in between. So I feel like these would be good for any level of skill or any level of experience. They're not hard to blend, apart from that purple one that I used today. But like I said, I'm pretty sure it's due to the fact that my eyelids are dry. But this is not a review. I am gonna continue using this palette and put it in a palette ranking in the future. But just upon my first impression, like the mattes are good. The shimmers though are like where I feel like Wicked Widow Beauty really shines, literally. Like their shimmers are just beautiful. The two up here, Thrills and Chills and Fright Night, those to me feel like a little more textured. They're not super hard pressed in the pan, so they do pick up really easily. I usually use my finger, but on a brush, I'm sure they would pick up pretty easily. They are marketed as duochrome / multichromes. I don't feel like they're the strongest shifting duochrome multichromes, but I still think they're very, very pretty. And if you like shimmers that are really impactful, I think you would enjoy that. This shade Weird Waltz, like I already said, I'm so glad that that's in there for an inner corner highlight. I did not use the shade Monster Mash. This is the only shade I have not used yet, but this is a very smooth, like olive green. I think I'm really gonna love that for like a deeper smoky look. So far I'm really enjoying this. I think it's really good. If you like the color story and you like the formulas I just described, you probably would enjoy it, but stay tuned. I'm gonna keep using it and give you my final thoughts in the future. All right, I'm gonna send you off to the next look now. So once again, I screwed up. I already filmed a look for this video with the Recently Deinfluenced palette from Bella Beauty Bar, and I didn't realize that my ceiling fan was on and it was blowing on my mic the whole time, just making an awful noise the whole time. So I can't use the footage. But the good news is I did actually film the clip of me with the final look, and I'm gonna tell you, it's one of my favorite looks I've created on me in a very long time. Like, so yummy and beautiful, just like super warm tone. The mattes that I used were incredibly beautiful, and the shimmer that I used all over the lid was this shade Depleted, which is a multi-chrome that goes from like red to yellow to green. Oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. And it's one of those really smooth multi-chromes, which I love personally. But like I said, for the last look with the last palette, this will now be my second time using the palette. And so I will have even more thoughts, hopefully, on it. And I want to play with the purples in this today. That's what I'm thinking. One thing that I don't love about this is that there is not a super light matte, which I just prefer to have one for a transition shade. It's not the end of the world. I can reach into another palette, obviously, but just for the sake of like creating a look with exclusively this palette, that is missing for me. I did purchase this myself, and let me just give you some information about the palette. So this is the Recently Deinfluenced eyeshadow palette. It is available for pre-order 8 to 10 weeks. It does retail for $69. It's a 15 pan palette, 7 mattes, 8 multi-chromes. It is vegan, paraben, and cruelty free. I actually really like the packaging of this. I like the theme of this. It's kind of fun and different, which I think is cool. Somebody commented saying that this looked like me. Thank you. Whoever you were, thank you so much. I will take that as a compliment. But I think it's a fun, different, kind of spooky, creepy influencer theme. Very fun. And then the color story is really beautiful. I was waiting for a Bella Beauté bar color story to really pull me in, and this was it. Like, I was very excited to try this out. So, okay, let's get to creating a look. I'm gonna start off with the shade Drained right here, this like vibrant purple. Like I said, these mattes are very beautiful, but very pigmented. So I'm gonna go in with the very light hand with the shade. Swing the brush around so a lot of the pigment comes off. This is a Singe EO3, my favorite crease brush. And I'm just gonna place this through my crease. I've already primed my eyes with the Urban Decay Primer Potion, of course. There we go. So I was able to go in with a light hand to get more of a wash of color. Honestly, that matte is beautiful. Like, did I build it up a little too much? Maybe. But you know what? It's okay. It's okay. We're gonna go with it. But extremely blendable, like not patchy at all whatsoever. Love it. So now I'm gonna go in with a slightly deeper purple called Authenticity over here and just deepen it up a little bit, put it a little lower in the crease. Does it look like I got punched in the eyes? Maybe, but I kind of love it. Yeah, that purple was no problem at all whatsoever. Now I'm gonna go into the shade Energy Vampire. I'm basically just using the 3 purple mattes here that just get progressively deeper. So I'm gonna use that in my outer corner. So the shimmer that I used in my last look, like I told you already, Depleted, is definitely more of a smooth multi-chrome. And I have used one other palette from the brand in the past, and so I've noticed that they do put in kind of a couple of different textures of shimmers, and this palette definitely has a couple of different textures. A lot of these shimmers are more chunky, textured, I guess you could say. So I'm gonna use one of the textured ones today, Bold Glamour, up here. I can definitely just tell by looking at it, it is a little more piecey. So first, for sure, I'm gonna put on the NYX Glitter Primer, just to make sure it sticks to my lid. I'm gonna go in with my finger into that shade Bold Glamour right there. Gorgeous. Super shiny. It almost feels like it has a translucent base, but I don't think that's the case. I just think it's a light shimmer. Absolutely beautiful. And it definitely is more on the textured side. I think that if you used a brush and sprayed the brush, you would have less fallout than me using my finger. But with that glitter primer, I think That will also help a lot. Really beautiful. Okay, I am gonna go off camera, get some more makeup on my face, and I will come back and we can finish the lower lash line together. All right, let's finish up the lower lash line together. I don't have the palette, hold on.
A few moments later.
I'm just gonna use the same mattes that I used in my crease. I'm gonna start with Energy Vampire, that deepest purple. I'm gonna take it on a flat definer brush and I'm actually gonna spray it, and I'm gonna push this up against my lower lash line. I'm gonna take a pencil brush, I'm gonna go into the shade Authenticity and just blend that out. And lastly, I'm gonna go into the shade Drained and blend that out. For my inner corner, I'm gonna go into the shade Digital Zombie, which looks like a really pretty, like, iridescent multichrome that has blue in it. Super excited. For my waterline, I'm going to use ColourPop's Prance. All right, and this is the finished look. What do you think? I think this came out so beautiful. So beautiful. I'm so happy with how this looks. I love purples. So I'm down for a purple look always. So let me give you my first and second impression thoughts on this palette. This is not a review. I have to continue using this palette and then put it in a palette ranking in the future. But let me just give you my initial thoughts. So from my past experience with the brand, I did buy their Star-Crossed Lovers palette, their Valentine's Day release earlier this year. And I will say the matte formula has definitely improved. These mattes are a lot more pigmented, a lot more blendable. The ones in the Star-Crossed Lovers palette are good too, but they're not as pigmented or silky or like buttery. They're just like good, but these ones are phenomenal. So like I said, I kind of wish there was a lighter matte, but I can just reach into another palette. It's really not the end of the world. The shimmers are really pretty. I've only used 4. I used Depleted, and then I used Viral in my inner corner on my first look, and then I used Bold Glamour and Digital Zombie. So I'm gonna continue using the other shimmers, but I will say there are some smooth ones, there are some textured ones. So that is fun to have a little bit of variety, you know what I mean? So yeah. I'm happy with this look. I'm so excited to continue using this. Let me know if you picked up this palette. I definitely wish that I'd picked up the Basic Witch palette and the Smoky Glam palette. Those are 2 Bella Beauty bar palettes that I have FOMO about. But I think that's all I have to say about this palette, so let's wrap up the video. Okay, so that is it for this 3 palettes, 3 looks video. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, I would love to hear your thoughts on any of these palettes, any of these looks. Did you purchase them? Are you skipping? Do you want them? And of course, I will link them all down below in the description box. And if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. That helps me out a lot when you do that. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you would consider subscribing before you leave. I do upload videos weekly, and I'd love to see you back in my channel again. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.